All right, so yesterday was day one of the Democratic National Convention. I did a live stream of the entire thing. I was commenting, I was reading viewer comments as it was all going on. And I don't know how else to start other than to say it really wasn't very good. Now, I'll talk about what expectations are and how it compares to expectations and to what we would expect from Trump. And I'm going to contextualize it, but there's no way that I could come to you today and say, I'm so inspired and invigorated and energized by what we saw yesterday. I sent some early tweets like during the first half hour, which were really quite negative. I said first off, quote, I could have done without the prayer to Jesus to kick off the DNC. Not sure about anybody else. And I get that everybody does it and Joe Biden's Catholic and there's still a pretense about religion in the Democratic Party. And it's not just necessarily a pretense. There are religious people as well, and that's fine. They do the Pledge of Allegiance. Like, it all just smelled at this point like Republican light, which maybe is the goal and arguably is still a big part of the centrist elements of the Democratic Party. So I'm not acting surprised by that. I'm just saying it didn't really resonate with me. Then sort of about 22 minutes in fact, I said, someone please talk me off the ledge. I want to win. And the first 22 minutes of this DNC, I'm scared. Can someone tell me how great this is or something? But, then it did start to improve. And maybe my view is skewed by the fact that I just hate cliche packaged politics. And that's exactly what the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, is designed to be. It's designed to be a package culminating with the nomination of, in this case, Joe Biden in 2016, 2012, different people, to get to the election. And it's a package, and especially when you've got coronavirus. So it's not just the idea of packaging up a candidate and a platform, but it is quite literally a video package that has been pre-produced in combination with live segments. You have no crowd energy. It might be just as bad with the Republican National Convention, and this may be just what it is, but it felt very low energy, and, they'd have an actual okay speech, and then they'd cut to music or some other kind of interlude that didn't make sense and took energy away. But I want to try to really see this as not my reaction. Maybe this is the right thing. Like, they don't need to convince me. I'm already voting for Joe Biden. And I actually don't even understand being undecided at this point. And so maybe this is about a very sort of polished, inoffensive package meant to appeal to the few people that might actually be unsure about who to vote for. Like, I don't know is the point. But given the opportunity for Democrats to do something, knowing Republicans will also have an opportunity to do the same thing next week, I'd rather have the better convention than the worst one, no matter how much it really matters in the end. Now, it did keep improving during the first 2 hours, during the 2 hours of the first day. I thought the best parts of the evening were a woman named Kristen Urquiza, whose father died of coronavirus after voting for Donald Trump. She spoke really well and authentically, and a lot of the stuff felt inauthentic. She was really good. And then from the big names, listen, Bernie was excellent. Bernie is always just so clear and precise with his message and the stakes. And I liked that Bernie spoke specifically to his supporters from both 2016 and 2020 and talked about the importance of voting for Joe Biden this time around because of the existential threat that is Donald Trump. Let's look at like a minute of that.
My friends, I say to you, to everyone who supported other candidates in the primary, and to those who may have voted for Donald Trump in the last election, the future of our democracy is at stake. The future of our economy is at stake. The future of our planet is at stake. We must come together, defeat Donald Trump, and elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as our next president and vice president. My friends, the price of failure is just too great to imagine. Thank you.
So really nice job by Bernie Sanders. Beautiful aesthetics, by the way, also, if you were watching. Bernie came to us from Burlington, Vermont with the nice wood pile in the background. I mean, just very, very aesthetically pleasing as well. I'm half kidding. I mean, it was cool. I don't actually care about that, but seeing the wood pile was nice. And then Michelle Obama was really very good. She closed off the night. I thought maybe she went a bit too long, which I was fine with, but I could see from people in the chat that some were starting to sort of tune out a little bit. But I thought she was excellent, fantastic speaker. And again, check out this clip from Michelle Obama going into this idea of, does my vote even matter? Michelle Obama making the case very strongly that yes, it does.
I've said before, being president doesn't change who you are. It reveals who you are. Well, a presidential election can reveal who we are too. And 4 years ago, too many people chose to believe that their votes didn't matter. Maybe they were fed up. Maybe they thought the outcome wouldn't be close. Maybe the barriers felt too steep, whatever the reason. In the end, those choices sent someone to the Oval Office who lost the national popular vote by nearly 3 million votes. In one of the states that determined the outcome, the winning margin averaged out to just 2 votes per precinct. 2 votes.
She took that head on really, really well. So I think maybe what I needed was like an attitudinal adjustment. How should we be thinking about this? Does it matter? As I've said before, I don't need conventions this year. I don't need debates this year. But if we are having them, I would rather Joe Biden have the better convention rather than the worst one. And we'll see how that continues tonight. Now, Donald Trump next week is planning to do his at the White House. It'll have apparently more of a live feel than the very pre-produced feel that the DNC had, at least on day one. My guess is Trump is going to put together some kind of in-person crowd. That would be my guess. Now, with coronavirus, you've got to be safe. You can't do a big thing. Packing an arena with 20,000 people would be crazy. My idea for the speeches for Bernie and Michelle and Biden, et cetera, for those speeches, I would have, instead of doing like 30 short segments as they did yesterday, I would have given the keynote people a little more time, but made it higher energy by putting together some small, safe, mask-wearing, socially distant crowds. Outdoors, I'm not saying do anything unsafe, but I think we could have gotten more energy without increasing the risk of coronavirus with some small outdoor crowds. Bernie's crowd in Burlington, that's fine. Michelle's in DC or wherever they're living or at this point, showing the importance of mask wearing, showing the importance of space, but it would have brought a little something, a je ne sais quoi, that was definitely missing yesterday. That would have been my preference, nothing unsafe. We will see how night 2 goes, and I will be streaming starting about 15 minutes before the start of day 2 tonight on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook, and I hope that you will join me there.